That one. Good morning, guys. How are you? Jackie, you there?
I am. How are you this morning?
I'm doing fine. Thank you for joining us. And Timothy, are you there?
I'm here. Good morning.
Good morning to you. Jackie Turner is the Executive Director of Mississippi Department of Employment Security. There were a lot of questions out there. Let me just ask you to give us an update of exactly where we are and as far as the ability to take calls and all of that. What's the status at the Department of Employment Security?
Well, thank you, Paul, for having us this morning. I was just looking at some statistics, and I'll share that with you. Over the last, since this began 4 or 5 weeks ago, we have taken over 120,000 initial claims, which means the first time someone files, and that is over the last few weeks. On a normal week, we took 1,000 or less. So you can imagine the increase in the workload and the inundation of the phone lines as well. And also, I was just looking at money value yesterday. On a normal week prior to the pandemic, we paid out in unemployment insurance benefits about $1.3 million or less. And in one day yesterday, between the normal unemployment that we pay out in Mississippi and the part of the CARES Act unemployment, we paid out in one day $56 million. So I wanted to start off with that to say that is that's kind of a picture of what we have been doing at Employment Security, and we made quite a bit of progress in the last few weeks. Of course, for all of us, the pandemic has affected our ability to respond as quickly as we would like to. We have done so many things since that time to try to accommodate the ones who need us in Mississippi, including adding another call centers. If you look out on our website today, there's an additional phone number to call for assistance with unemployment insurance. And we've added numerous employees and volunteers and temporary workers. Our phone systems that have been inundated with the number of callers, and we have added and bought cell phones to put out in the wind job centers and cell phones for our employees who are reaching out to people who need us. So we've done numerous things to try to accommodate the workload and continue to do so every day.
Let me ask you a question. If a person's calling, and will it roll over to an answering machine or just a message that says we are inundated, we appreciate that, or will it just ring and nobody picks up if nobody can get it at that particular time?
Quite honestly, Paul, it goes into queues and those kind of things, and there are messaging.
It is messaging.
In the phone system as well, but because of the deluge of calls, I know there have been reports of people saying they hung up on me and those kind of things. And I would say if any people hang up on you, I'd like to know that for sure. But part of the process is the phone systems that may click off at some different point in time because of the overload and stuff. So I do know that people have had issues, and we are trying. We continue to try to work through those, and by adding another call center line, and even continue to look at our website to see additional numbers as the days go on. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Is it getting any better? Are you able to at least see a peak as far as the employment those numbers are concerned?
We believe that as far as people who are eligible for the regular unemployment insurance program, that we have seen the peak of those. But what we don't think we know we haven't seen the peak on is the people that may be eligible for the pandemic unemployment assistance, which is part of the CARES Act. And that is for people who are in the category of self-employed individuals, independent contractors, people who work for churches, even those who might not have qualified under the regular unemployment, but because of COVID-19 related reasons may qualify under pandemic unemployment assistance. So we do not we know that we haven't seen the peak in those type claims, and so we expect that.
So, Timothy, I mean, how will if Nancy comes back to town and gets this thing done, how's that going to affect the Mississippi Employment Security and the unemployment insurance? Or is there any change if we get more money into the system there?
I didn't understand the first part. How is
if Congress passes another stimulus package and additional money for small businesses and others, how will that affect you guys there at the unemployment insurance?
Yeah, understood. It would impact us, I think, positively in terms of funding, so that we can continue to ramp up our systems, our phone lines, and hire personnel where needed. We are exploring robotic opportunities to automate some of the processes and take away some of the manual, repetitive activities. I do think that it will help the employer communities where they're able to sustain their payrolls and keep people on payroll, and also sustain those individuals who are not able to get back to work because we're able to provide for them unemployment benefits temporarily. So I think it will help. At some point, we hope things will turn around sooner than later, but I do think it will help. I don't want to see the economy fail, don't want to see the nation fail, and people are desperate trying to maintain some sense of stability and normalcy, but I do think it will help.
Yeah. Jackie, when we talk about writing all those checks for unemployment, that money comes from taxpayers ultimately. How much longer can you go like that?
Well, part of the money that I was referring to, part of it comes out of our Mississippi Unemployment Trust Fund, and part of it, the extra $600 that people refer to, comes from the federal government, and thank goodness it doesn't come out of our coffers here for Mississippi. We've been working with our actuarial team to see the impact of the 120,000, like I referred to earlier, plus claims. It will impact our trust fund Mississippi, and how long that will, depending on how long those people are drawing unemployment, how will it impact our trust? And it will have a very great impact on the trust fund, which in turn potentially impacts employer tax rates and things. So it is a lot to consider and be concerned about between the employer community and the people the Mississippians that need the assistance. So we are continuing and will continue to monitor all of that closely.
Guys, hold on for a second. I want to ask you this, because I know you're running some numbers and you guys are huddling up and thinking about this. What percentage of these folks who are of that 120,000, if we get back to work, because I think some of them, I'm not sure how many of them, will be going back to work and getting off of this. But I'd love to talk about that when we come back with Jackie Turner and also Timothy Rush, FDIC. One of another positive corona consequence. Homes and cars are selling at a faster rate in Mississippi, something that a lot of people didn't expect. But the COVID-19 pandemic has had a surprising effect, lowering interest rates, and apparently the car dealers in Mississippi and the real estate agencies have been doing business because the interest rates are low and the deals are good. So Jackie and Timothy looking for some positive spin on this thing. That we have to dig for it, but there are some things out there. But hopefully people will be able to get back to work and afford those homes and those cars. Let me ask you this, though. Are you guys looking at this, and is there any way to just kind of say what percentage of these people possibly will be getting back to work once we open up?
Well, we are making educated guesses, talking with the employer community and our actuarial team of the possibility of what the percentage is of these that will go back to work. When will they go back to work? We've had several calls with the employer community and state leadership about getting people back to work timely, and that employers, they value their employees and they want them to come back to work when they are ready to go back for business. They don't want to lose them. So We are going to be working with employers, as we always do, but more closely than ever, to know when they are open for business and calling their employees back. And we want to make sure that they don't receive unemployment insurance benefits if they have a job to go to, because that is not the intent of the program. So we will be working closely with the employer community when they do begin calling their employees back.
I'm sure you've been in touch with the governor and the lieutenant governor, who, by the way, will be joining me at 8:07, Lieutenant Governor Delbert Hosemann, and also the Speaker, Philip Gunn. But do you think, how much longer will this require to go on, that you might have to have a special, not a special session, to resume the legislative session, the 2020 session, to maybe put some additional money in?
Well, that's a possibility. We had a call yesterday with the senators, with Lieutenant Governor and the senators, and both Timothy and I will be joining the governor today in his press conference at 2:30. And one of the things the Lieutenant Governor asked me was, do you need money, or what do you need from the legislature? And because we are a federally funded state agency, we have already received some administrative money to work with the provisions in the CARES Act plus the pandemic itself. As far as what we would need from the legislature or the state leaders is truly related, I think, to the trust fund and how we as Mississippians go forward from this pandemic, and the lingering effects that this might have as we go into the new tax year and those kind of things. So we'll be working closely with all of those state leaders and the employer community to look at that and make sure we don't have, I'll say, unintended consequences of helping in ways that are good but might have unintended consequences for all Mississippians.
So if Congress does pass the additional package, how fast will it trickle down into our coffers so they could be distributed?
Well, that's an excellent question. It depends, of course. MDES, Employment Security, has the portions related. There are many things they have passed, and we have the portion related to unemployment insurance type benefits. Mm-hmm. And when they pass something in Congress, the first thing that happens for us is the U.S. Department of Labor has to look at what they passed and provide guidance to us as state workforce agencies delivering the unemployment insurance programs. And when the CARES Act passed, that took a good bit of time. And so then, as far as the money flowing to the coffers, even after the guidance, it took another week or two. So it's at least a month turnaround on that kind of thing. So it just doesn't flow quickly, even from the top down to the states. And then, of course, we have to take that and take our systems, all of us across the United States, and take the provisions of the Act and then program it into our systems.
So it's not going to be they passed it today and tomorrow the checks are in the mail. It's just not, it doesn't happen that way.
It does not.
Timothy, let me ask you this, because I don't remember a time when somebody who's actually actively working doesn't want to be on unemployment, but all of a sudden finds himself with what's coming on in Washington and again, what's afforded by the Mississippi government. Then all of a sudden they put the numbers together. People are not dumb, but they find out that they could stay at home and make more money. Is that is that a situation that we're in and will face?
Well, for some that may not qualify for high wages or higher salaries, the provisions of the law does give the individual $600 in addition to their regular benefits. Mm-hmm. So we're facing situations where, depending upon the person's weekly benefit amount, that it could be equal to or greater than what they would normally earn while working. So we have some programs in place that would incentivize individuals to return to work The allowance that currently is in place allows individuals to work part-time and earn up to $40, and any amount over $40 is deducted. So we propose some legislation action to the governor's office to look at raising that allowance, which will in turn allow the employer to give that individual part-time work or as much work as they can afford to, and the individual could also receive partial unemployment benefits and work at the same time, and in an incentive to be a win-win for both the employer and
I got you.
the claimant. Yeah.
Jackie, final thoughts here. What do you want people from all the questions that you're getting in? What do you want people to know as far as going forward?
Well, we want everyone to know that MDES, or Employment Security, is working hard every day, 7 days a week. We were all up there on the weekend working to bring you the benefits that you so much deserve and need. We are working through email boxes and system boxes of every single issue that is on file. We have done many fixes and queries, that's IT terms, over the weekend to take care of some of the issues and backlogs, and people will begin to see those things. Stay patient with us. We have a varied group. I'm really proud of the group that we're working super hard, and we will get to every last person that is due some response or deserves their benefits, whatever method they've chosen to receive them, and that we appreciate the state leaders working with us as we go through this process, and everyone helping us get the word out.
Ask her how is best to contact them. One of the questions from C Spire text line. What's the best way to contact you guys?
Well, earlier in the program, I said we've added additional call center number, which went up today. So, of course, still the best way to file is online, what we call self-service, or by yourself. If you need to talk with someone, there are the call center lines, and yes, many, many complaints about the lines being jammed, and that is correct, because when you talk about the numbers of people that have filed, you can imagine that all those thousands of people trying to get in, and that continues to be a problem. One of the best ways to contact us is through the WIN Job Center system right now. On our website are the email addresses for the WIN Job Centers and additional phone numbers from the regular line that goes there, and those are those numbers where we have added cell phones, and also that people can get to us in the WIN Job Centers. So I've always said this is a fluid situation, and the advice I give today may not be the best advice tomorrow, but using the WIN Job Centers system as a resource, plus looking at continue to look for different call center numbers on our website as well.
I think one of the things to understand, if this happened every day or every month or every year, we'd be better at it, but thank God it doesn't happen, and it's an anomaly, and we don't want it to happen again, so just be patient. I do know that we got a couple of notes here about some of the MDES employees at the WIN Job Centers are working 7 days a week, and they're doing what they can, so just be patient, folks. If you don't get an answer, just call again and keep it going. Guys, thank you so very much. Keep it up.
Thank you.